What's up, everybody? And it is 2026. It is our first episode of Under the Hood, back in action with Dominic Franchella. Guys, we have a brand new segment that we want to open our show with today, and it is called Headlines. It is where I am going to read some of the most popular headlines coming out of Ford Motor Company. We're going to get Dom's honest, raw reaction to them. And then the cool thing is we want to get you guys more involved. So if you guys want to drop a comment, a question, anything that you ask, we're going to address it on the following episode. And the headline that is the most popular, we are going to do a deep dive on. We will read all your comments. We want to get you guys involved. We want to hear what you think. Let us know in the comments below. Let's get started, Dom. This should be a fun one.
All right, let's go.
All right, so first one we got. Ford's $30,000 electric truck prototype has been reached. Ford CEO Jim Farley says the new affordable EV truck has hit the prototype stage. It is targeted for a 2027 launch. Initial thoughts on this?
They're not going to make the launch date.
I don't think so either.
That's my initial thought.
I think the look said it all on that one, really.
I would tell you that it's seldom that they set a launch date that they stick to. So I'm hopeful, but my initial reaction is they don't reach that launch date.
I know when you think about it, they've got 11 months to make that deadline, which, I mean, technically what Ford has done in the past, and you've talked about this before, they say 2027 launch, we could see it December 2027. So really, technically they like to play games like that, I feel like, with this, because like you said, it's never so let us know what you guys think about this. If you guys think this is feasible for 2027, I certainly don't. I think they have a lot more work ahead and to get this thing to where it's actually going to be better than what they've had in the past. All right, let's do this. Ford explains why it killed its sedans. So Jim Farley is finally acknowledging that sedans weren't profitable for Ford, and although he leaves the door open for the possibility of returning to sedans someday.
So I was somewhat shocked after reading that he said the reason why they stopped making sedans was they couldn't. He didn't say they were losing money on them. He said that they couldn't compete with the Japanese and Koreans. So I would tell you that I would never, ever say that I can't compete with a competitor. And I do believe you can compete if they're able to make sedans that are affordable and have a business model that they're profitable, then why can't Ford?
It's very true. I always talk, like, in my travels, just on a weekly basis, I always run into at least one person that's like, I can't believe I can't buy another sedan. I'm getting out of my lease. I'm selling my Fusion Focus finally. I wish I could get another one. And the fact that they don't offer anything is crazy. They're really pushing people to the crossover type, or even Escape now is gone.
Well, they're pushing people away from Ford.
Yeah.
Right now, as a dealer, we don't have a price entry affordable vehicle for a young man or woman getting out of college.
Yeah.
Someone that's just starting, a family that's looking for an affordable vehicle. We don't have any, and there is nothing on the horizon when we talk about a $30,000 electric truck. Well, how many people want trucks?
They don't.
And that's the starting price. $30,000 is the starting price.
Yeah.
So you start putting things in, it's not $30,000 anymore.
And then you got to deal with electric, with a lot of people are not comfortable with electric yet. They're still not comfortable. They're still not sold. And plus, if you live in an apartment building or a condominium doesn't have chargers, you're cooked.
Well, there's no infrastructure set up to handle electric right now. And right now, as a dealer, we have not only no sedans. The Escape is done, the 26 model year. We do have some really good deals on them right now. But once you sell out of the 26 Escape, you have no more Escape, you have no more Edge. So the first vehicle you could go into in what would be an SUV is an Explorer.
Wow.
So, we have no cars other than the Mustang, and now we have no small SUVs.
Yeah, it's pretty unbelievable when you actually break it down like that and put it in front of you. It doesn't make sense to me. It's funny. This is a great the headline
Well,
first word in this is
let me
pivot.
correct myself because we do have a Bronco Sport.
Yeah.
So we do have a Bronco Sport.
It's just a different
But
vehicle though.
it's also only really designed to fit 4 people. You really can't fit 3 people in
That's
the
what
back
I
seat
mean.
of a Bronco Sport.
Bronco Sport's kind of on its own platform, with Maverick and things like that. It's definitely different. But yeah, you mentioned pivoting, and this headline is pivot in electrification strategy. So Ford is shifting focus towards hybrid vehicles and affordable EVs. And basically, they're saying that EV sales have tanked, and they're backing away from EV production plans.
So very sensible. They're late to the party.
As usual.
Should have invested in hybrid. That was a technology they should have invested in instead of putting billions of dollars into electric. They
lot.
dove in the waters head first and got electrocuted.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you're not wrong. They got electrocuted to about, if I'm reading this figure correctly, $19.5 billion. That's a lot of electrocution going on.
A lot of electrocution.
Yeah, absolutely. Some other big news that are going on in the headlines. So this one is not new to anybody. Safety and recalls. 119,000 vehicles recalled over engine block heater defect. A new Ford recall affects multiple models with potential short-circuiting fire risk. Owners advised to stop using block heaters until it's fixed. What a great recommendation.
So here's the thing, right? Recalls. It's no secret that Ford leads the pack in recalls.
Yeah.
Ford has talked about quality for a number of years now. And I really can't understand how it really isn't improving. And, every time you're done with one recall, there's another one.
Yeah.
And the problem with some of them is they're safety recalls that you are required by the government to notify customers. But you're also notifying customers that you do have a recall, but we can't fix it because we don't have the fix yet.
Don't have a part. Yeah, that's another really big problem. And I also feel like I've noticed too, if someone's coming in for, let's just say, a standard oil change, 5,000 mile service, you now have 10 recalls that stack onto that appointment that have to be done, which then makes the turnaround time even harder. Have you noticed that coming into the year or the end of the year?
Yeah, I mean, it's people say they have a recall, and then you go in and you're looking to have 3 or 4 recalls. The other problem with it is we get stop sales. So, we have vehicles in stock, Broncos to name, and you got recalls that you can't perform and you can't sell them because they have to be done before you deliver them. And, we're waiting for parts or we're waiting for the fix. So it's become a major, major, major problem for dealers.
Yeah, no.
And sadly to our customers.
So these two headlines go hand in hand. The first one is Ford CEO highlights tech edge from F1 engine work. Farley says building Red Bull's 2026 F1 hybrid engine helps strengthens Ford's software and EV hybrid tech, seen as key to competing with Chinese automakers. So Ford was building an F1 engine for Red Bull for their F1 race to try and figure out how to move forward in the future. Do you follow the F1 series at all with Ford?
I don't really. So
That's it. There's a good joke in here about it is Chinese too. I know. But the part you will, and really what I want to hear from you about is, so now they're talking about potential battery talks with a company called BYD out of China. And these reports say Ford is discussing sourcing their hybrid batteries from a Chinese company, BYD, as a part of its strategic shift away from pure EVs.
So the way I understand it is they're researching the possibility of importing batteries from China instead of producing them in the United States, correct?
Absolutely.
So do they know anything about tariffs?
I'm sure they will when they're done with this deal if it gets done.
I am a bit confused because I know Jim Farley and other CEOs were, at the White House discussing tariffs and other things with automotive. And I'm pretty sure that our president is not going to stand for importing of batteries, he's going to make it cost prohibitive if a company decides to import batteries and not manufacture them in the U.S. So, I mean, I don't know really where this goes, but I don't really think it's a good idea.
No, absolutely, and they contradict each other because on the one part they're saying, "Hey, we want to compete with the Chinese automakers," but at the same time they're saying, "Hey, we can source our batteries from China because they know what they're doing." So it is a very wishy-washy, and that's how my brain short-circuited when I read that too, literally about talking about all this EV stuff. We're not here to just talk about all the craziness of Ford. We do have some positive headlines going on here. I know that there are few far and in between, but there are. So Ford has now partnered with a company called Carhartt. And they are doing some community work in Detroit. They are doing a tool lending hub. So Ford is partnering to help open a tool lending site that supports community construction and development projects all around the city of Detroit.
Yeah, I just saw that and read about it yesterday. I think it's great. I mean, Carhartt is a great company. I think it's a great partnership. And, doing good for the community is always something that I think is really important. So I think that I hope they make that partnership and really make it work.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, listen, say what you want about everything going on with the craziness right now with recalls, but Ford is at least very conscious of the public persona and giving back to communities, and it's something that we hold kind of near and dear to us here, and it's what this represents. A lot of it too is we care a lot about our community as well, so that's something that goes a long way with us. Now back to the doom and gloom. So they did have a fire in their Ford Chicago plant. No injuries, no fatalities, but the plant is ablaze. What is with all these fires at Ford plants that I'm hearing about all the time now?
So, again, this is just my opinion. I mean, I think they had 2 or 3 fires at the F-150 plant.
Yeah.
A fire now at the Chicago plant. I would tell you that I would be highly surprised if these fires aren't set by someone. 1 fire, okay. 2 fires, 3 fires, 4 fires, to me seems quite suspicious. So I really don't know, why someone is setting fires other than to obviously undermine what Ford is trying to produce. But I would tell you it's not a good thing when you're seeing this many fires.
No, I think Zippo Lighter Larry is on the loose at the Ford facilities, and listen, it's a tough work environment right now between what you got going on in our government versus people's beliefs, and then you have so many people with so many different views all trying to work together in a big facility. I mean, it's got to be absolutely chaos in there right now with just people being divided on that. Let's move on to the Detroit Auto Show. The big highlight here from the Detroit Auto Show year over year. So industry coverage from the 2026 Auto Show notes a diminished spotlight on electric vehicles as Ford and Peters shift strategy amid changing federal policies. So they're really trying to, the EVs used to be front and center, and now they're in the back room, in the back corner with no spotlights on.
Well, here's the thing, right? Administrations change.
Yeah.
Okay. There was a huge emphasis when it was the Biden administration on reaching mileage standards. So a fleet would have to average a certain, what I would say, unreasonable mile per gallon when you average all of their vehicles. So the only way manufacturers would be able to get to that number is by producing electric vehicles that obviously go, hundreds of miles, right? The problem with that is there was never a sound business model for that. The only way that worked was with government subsidies. So not only government subsidies to the manufacturers, but government incentives to the buyers. So once the administration changed and Trump went back and said, no, you don't have to hit 50, 60 miles per gallon. Well, electric isn't a good idea because the government's not going to throw billions of dollars at it. And manufacturers are like, well, I don't have to lose billions of dollars anymore. So it was pretty predictable. I'm not sure. You don't need a crystal ball for that one. I I said it from the beginning when they're predicting by 2030, 50% of the vehicles are going to be electric. It's a crazy number.
Yeah.
And I think ultimately, if you even get to 15%, it's a high number. So,
Yeah.
again, no surprises there for me.
No, absolutely not. I mean, the EV thing was very premature, and they pumped a ton of money into it, and now they're kind of having to answer for that and kind of pay the balance that's on that credit card, as they would say. So definitely a lot of stuff going on at the auto show, but that was kind of the highlights. So guys, this is our new segment. It's called Headlines. If you heard something interesting, you want to ask questions, the most popular headline that we get in the comments, we're going to do a deep dive on the next episode. We will read your comments, so please take advantage of that. Want to get you guys more involved. Now we're going to dive back into a continuation. If you guys watched our last episode, we were talking about closing the year 2025, what's ahead for 2026, and we have some things on the docket to discuss. So I kind of want to start out with a personal question for you, Dom, and that's really, how do you personally reset and recharge at the end of a year? You've been doing this a long time. Do you have strategies and things, rituals, habits, things that you do at the end of each year to get ready for a new calendar year?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I would tell you that everybody waits for January 1st to try to do this.
Yeah.
I try not to, but I mean, I would tell you there are certain things that I do the beginning of the year. The beginning of the year, the first thing I do is I list all the things that I have gratitude for, and that is endless. So, one thing, it's taking a self-assessment of what happened and what you could be really thankful for. And I think that puts you in a good frame of mind. Then I would tell you the next thing I do is I list what I would consider my 3 major accomplishments. I would then list my 3 major failures, and that's as a person and in business. And I would try to just become a better version of myself. And, I talk about it all the time. If you do your best every day, you can't do any better, but tomorrow you can. So we talk about beating yesterday.
Yeah.
And I think you should be doing these assessments daily, not in such detail as you do on January 1st. But, I would tell you that the busiest day in the gym is not January 1st, because people are hungover from New Year's Eve, January 2nd.
Yeah.
Everybody has their New Year's resolutions that last all of a day.
Yeah, it's so true. I feel like they come and they go with the week. People set all these goals and everything else, and by the first bump in the road, everybody's pivoting to something else. It takes a lot of discipline to stick with something. So looking ahead to this year, what's one thing that you feel really excited about coming into 26 about? A lot of people are, part of the doom and gloom club. What's something that you feel excited about? You feel good. You feel like you can kind of grow into in 2026.
I feel excited every day I get up. So the number one thing I'm excited about is the Lord gave me another year.
Yeah.
I finished 2025, and then, I got to start 2026, and now we're 20 days into 2026. So for me, it's the excitement of another year.
Yeah.
But it's also the excitement of another day for me. So I would tell you that's the biggest thing that I'm excited for 2026, on how I'm going to be a better version of me, a better person, one that's more loving, caring, just totally excited to be alive.
Listen, you are the Energizer Bunny for a reason. I mean, you've all these years. I mean, so this is what, 43, 40? In this business, in the business.
43? April will be 45.
45.
45 coming to this building.
45. That is unbelievable. And look at him. He still wants to keep going. So it's definitely a big factor for you. Looking back at 2025, what do you think was the biggest win for Stamford, for you personally? Do you have a moment in 2025 that was really a pinnacle or a highlight? Did anything boil over to kind of the top of the mountain?
I don't know. I don't know if I could just pick one. I would tell you that the biggest win, if I had to just pick just one for the accomplishment of the business, I would tell you that I think that as a team, we came together much more than in other years. I think that a number one goal of ours was to work more together, have more togetherness, collaborate. I would tell you that I think that we made major progress in 2025. So if I had to take one thing, it would be an internal thing. It wouldn't be an award we won or a plaque we hang on a wall. I would tell you that's what it would be.
Yeah, no, it's not always about the awards. A lot of times people don't realize that there is a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes, team culture, the stuff that customers don't see on a daily basis, and you don't really get to know because it's behind closed doors. So I think that's important to say.
I mean, I think that, prior to that, we have a lot of finger pointing.
Yeah.
We had a lot of people that could point out problems, and they would point out problems in other people's departments. And I think we got over that. I think that, listen, it's difficult when you're running 4 or 5 businesses within a business and everybody has their little fiefdom.
Yeah.
And it's easy to deflect. But I would tell you that I'm really proud of how we came together and started to work together and try to not point to problems, but solve problems doing it together.
No, I think that's so important, and it's really good to hear that your perspective on it was that way, because I kind of felt that way too this year. It was less criticism, more just let me help you with this, let me do it. So I totally agree with that this year. It was definitely a breakthrough year, I felt like, with that. Let's go the opposite way. What do you think the biggest challenge was that we faced in 2025, and did we successfully handle it? Did we handle it the right way? Did we come out on the other side the way we wanted to?
Well, I would tell you that the biggest challenge has to be with the lineup we have of vehicles from Ford. It's changed, drastically over the last 4 or 5 years, where we got rid of all the sedans, small SUVs or CUVs. The issue with parts availability and recalls. Those are challenges, but they're really not challenges that we're able to solve internally.
Can't control.
They're threats from outside that we can't do anything about. I would tell you that I'm really proud of, again, the team handling those challenges to the best of our ability internally. But I wouldn't tell you that I'm really happy or satisfied with solving the challenges, because it's something that's really out of our hands. But that continues to be the biggest challenge.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. You barely recognize the lineup anymore, and it's funny because it's not funny, but it is. I would say it's just more fascinating to watch a person who hasn't been to our store in 5 years, who's held onto their car, and now they're coming in again, and they look around, they go, "This is a complete." They don't even recognize.
Right.
They don't even recognize what they're looking at. What's this thing? What's that thing? Where's this?
Right.
So yeah, no, I completely agree, and we can't control it, and you have to have a team that rolls with it. Was there anything that really surprised you about 2025, about the end of the year? Were there anything that you thought that maybe we were going to come up short, but we actually ended up getting there, doing something? Did anything make you go, wow, I wasn't expecting that. I really wasn't expecting that, but we did
So you're
it.
talking about, instead of disappointment, a pleasant surprise?
Pleasant surprise. Correct. Exactly. You read my mind.
I would tell you, again, it would be centered around the pleasant surprise was that I didn't really think that I hate to say it because I'm an optimist by nature, but I would tell you my biggest surprise was that we were able to get together as a team, especially on a management level, and put our differences aside and work together. I mean, that was the most pleasant surprise of the year. It's not something that I expected, but
Hey,
happened.
we got there, and that's all that counts, is getting across the line, whether it's an inch or a mile. So for all you Fast and Furious guys watching, car people, that's for you. What do you think had the biggest impact on just the industry, the automotive industry in 2025? What's something that really, really impacted us in 2025 that necessarily haven't dealt with year over year? Or is it the same old story?
I would tell you the biggest change is the shift in, when the administration changed and they changed, mileage guidelines. The biggest shift was, okay, everybody was at a race. I say a race to the bottom with electric, and again, got electrocuted, and then it was a race to how we're going to shift. So I would tell you in 25 that's the biggest thing. I mean, everybody's like, okay, it's no longer electric. How are we going to figure this out now? How are we going to figure out how we get out of this and go to hybrid technology? Or Now, I mean, I hate to say it. If you know, I was surprised you didn't read some of these headlines. Ford's talking about all they're talking about is V8s now, building,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
bigger, more powerful engines. So, you know, it's a huge shift.
Flip and flop, flip
Yeah,
and flop.
you know.
Yeah, it really is.
I mean, they're talking about making Raptor versions of almost everything.
I know. That's the other crazy thing. They're so concerned about, getting these electric vehicles and being, sufficient and sustaining. And now it's like, let's just make the biggest gas guzzling car we could make. So it is funny how the pivoting. And that's the other thing I wanted while we're here. One thing that bugged me was just how the dealers that took the leap of faith and got in with the EV program and said, okay, we'll get behind you. We'll do this, actually came out worse than the people that turned their backs completely. So you could have been a dealer, turned your back, said, screw you guys, I'm not doing any of this EV stuff. I think you came out cleaner than the people that actually believed in it and bought into it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always a person that tries to be cautious. So, you know, they came out with this, you know, electric elite dealer program
Yep.
that you'd have to make a pretty significant investment as a dealer. And if you don't do that, we're only going to give you 25 electric vehicles a year. So a lot of dealers panicked and bought into the fact that it's going to be electric, electric, electric,
Yeah.
and made investments in these programs with infrastructure, with chargers, and they were caught holding the bag. I was fortunate that that wasn't the case for us so much. So yeah, I would tell you that would be it.
Yeah. I mean, that was definitely a crazy to bet the farm, as they say, on electric was probably not the smartest move. Here's an interesting one. So if you could do one thing differently in the year 2025, would you even entertain that question? Because I know you don't believe in going back. You can't change the past. But would you have done anything differently? It's an interesting,
If I got to rewind,
if you got to rewind.
I'm sure I would do a lot of things differently because you have the now you have the ability to look at things that you might have been reactive instead of responsive and be able to go back and say, well, I know this is going to happen now, and why should I do it? I mean, if I just had to pick one, I probably have something every day that I would do differently.
See, that's why I love this.
I
I
mean-
love this question when people ask it, and I thought it was kind of funny because it's like, exactly right. If I could go back and do it all over again, I'd change everything every day. Every day would be
I mean,
perfect.
every day there'd be a change.
You know?
I mean, it could be as simple as not eating what I ate because it didn't agree with me too well. So, I mean,
No,
yeah. I mean, I don't know if I could just pick one thing, but
Yeah,
I would change a lot of things.
I didn't expect you to. The
know?
funniest thing is we'll have to get somebody that's a big gambler on and ask them that question. That's the real when you get a real payoff on that question. How do you think that customer expectations are going to change year over the year? Do you think customer expectations are going to be a little bit more demanding this year than last year?
I just think in general, you know, customer expectations, I don't know if I'd call them demanding. I mean, their expectations are things that are mostly reasonable. Listen, there are a number of people that have unreasonable expectations and demands. But I would think that, yeah, I mean, as technology improves, so does expectations of how fast and how efficient you could get things.
It's true.
So, you know, I think demands are going to be, well, you have all this technology. How could you not tell me when my vehicle is going to be here?
Yeah,
And how could you be telling me it's going to be here and it's still not? So
that's
I would tell you, yeah, I mean, in a lot of areas, I think expectations and demands are going to increase from customers.
yeah. No, I think the
And
expectations.
I don't think it's unreasonable, to be honest with you.
Yeah, no, I don't think so either. I just think the expectations, it's like everything else, right? The rent goes up every year. And so do the expectations. People want things faster, more convenient, and all these other companies are pivoting. I mean, Amazon's the best example I could think of off the top of my head. I mean, now they're putting in a lot of cities where it's a 4-hour delivery. You press it and we'll make the 4-hour.
In southern Florida, that's a norm.
Is it really where you
Yeah,
are?
I mean, almost everything is delivered like, you know,
Really?
yeah,
So
same day. Well,
wow.
I mean, I shouldn't say almost everything, but I would say 50% of the items.
Wow. Yeah.
So I don't know if they have big hubs there or how. I mean, but it's nowhere like I don't get that anywhere near the way we get it when we're in Florida, like
That's
here.
wild. That's wild.
I
Yeah.
mean, overnight, yeah, you get it the next day, but
Yeah.
there's not like Southern Florida.
Yeah. Now it's unbelievable. And I haven't really, I've only
And then think
experienced
about
it.
the expectation they're setting,
Yeah, I know.
because you'll go on there and like, why can't I get it
Yeah.
in 4 hours?
Come on, I did it last time. When can I do it again? Yeah, it really is kind of a double-edged sword with that, because people's expectations just get so high, and then everything else feels like a letdown. Let's talk a little bit about, as a CEO, as a person, what did 2025 teach you about leadership? Because you're always about constantly growing, evolving. How do you think you evolved this year as a leader?
I would tell you the biggest thing that I worked on was trying to remain calm and patient and not reactive, more responsive. So I would tell you that's the biggest thing that I would tell you as a leader I improved, because, my dad gave me really good advice that I wish I took, and listened and did a lot more, is that God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth for a good reason,
Yeah,
to listen twice as much as you talk. And as human beings, we very rarely let someone finish what they're saying and get their entire thoughts out before we interrupt. So I made a conscious effort. Actually, what I do when I'm on the phone with a customer is I put it on mute and take notes so I can't interrupt them. I try to, at least when someone is talking, make a conscious effort to let them finish and count 5 seconds before I react and try to be responsive. So I would think the biggest win for me and the biggest improvement I had as a leader is to be able to listen to people like you and really hear it before I'm interrupting you and becoming reactive.
yeah, no, it's a lot of people do that. I feel like everything moves so fast, and I think it's important to slow down. It's important to slow down, get perspective. It's definitely a really important quality to have, especially as a leader. And I've definitely noticed that as well. Huge change there. So definitely working. What habit or process do you think helps you succeed the most? Is there a habit that you picked up over 2025 or 2026 that you'd like to share that could help?
Yeah. Setting the day.
Setting the day.
So there's a few things, right? Your mind is going nonstop, right?
Yeah.
So the one thing I talk about is starting your day before you finish your day. So what that means is, at the end of every day, if you take 5-10 minutes and you start your next day in writing the most important things,
Yeah.
and I truly believe in writing as many things that you think you have to get done, by most important to least important. And what you do is, every time you get one thing accomplished, you cross it out or highlight it. At the end of the day, when you feel like you didn't get much accomplished, you look at it and you get a sense of accomplishment. So
Yeah.
starting your day before finishing your day. But then the next thing is when you start your day every day, wake up and sit up in bed, and before you do anything else, think of 3 things that you have the most gratitude for, and that's the easiest thing in the world.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, it's my family, the love I have. So you set your mind in a positive mindset, and then for me, it's not only about what you get for your body with exercise. So I believe every day in starting with some sort of exercise, that I have a routine, stretching, and then, not a long meditation, 5 or 10 minutes,
Yeah.
and then prayer. If I do that every day,
Yeah.
I set myself up for a successful day.
And are you still doing the breathing techniques too? Because I tried doing what I mean, it did hurt after a while, but I got pretty good at it.
Yeah.
I don't do it religiously enough as I should.
Yeah, I do believe that there's a lot of good that comes out of that, but I also believe that you don't have to breathe, to the extent of really deep breathing.
Yep.
You have to breathe in and you have to breathe out. But yeah, I mean, I do breathing every day.
Yeah. No, I think it's really important. It definitely helped. In the morning, it helped my morning routine. Because when I was struggling tremendously with sleeping in mornings, and key for me is just establishing better habits, a better routine, and sticking with those habits come hell or high water.
I mean, one of the things that'll help everybody, it's difficult to do. I mean, a lot of people do cold plunges, but if you don't have that, um, you have to start somewhere. So you start with lowering the temperature of your shower until you get to where it's cold, and that really helps you. I don't really understand the total science behind it, but everybody's in the comfort of a warm shower, and like I want to take a hot shower, but if you at the end turn the temperature down and stay a certain amount of time under a cold shower, it does help you.
Yeah, no, I definitely think that it's important. They say it's called geothermal. It's called like geothermal balancing or something like that. I was reading about it, and it does say it does have some help with specifically athletes, muscle recovery. They say it helps with stuff like that. So I guess you can get some mental aspect of it. So I definitely think it's a good skill to try. And speaking of skill, because I'm staring at this right now, and this is an important question. What skill became more important this year than ever before in the automotive industry? Where do you think the automotive industry is lacking? What important skill is now valued at the top of the food chain for dealers, automotive?
The dealer that could find skilled people. That's the most important thing, because listen, AI can do a lot of things, but whether it's automotive or other businesses, it's always people. And the dealer that can be most successful at recruiting and retaining top talent, that's the number one skill you need.
Yeah, very, very important. Your people are everything. That's what a lot of CEOs say. I've watched a lot of podcasts, and I think you realize that more and more as you move through this business and you look around. You're only as good as your teammates.
100%.
Standing next to you. So I think that's definitely, and the technician shortage is kind of what that peaks into as well, as trying to find skilled techs.
So I'm glad you opened the door for that, because I wanted to bring it up.
Yep.
So one of the things that we're doing that there's very few dealerships do. So let me try to explain first.
Yeah.
A technician has what's called an incentive rate when they're working on a job. They also have a guarantee rate. So when they're not working on a job, they're guaranteed an hourly rate, which is much less than their incentive rate. So what we've decided to do, because it's very unfair to techs, especially with the amount of time that Ford gives techs on warranty, we now guarantee the incentive rate. So an A tech that makes $50 an hour, he's no longer guaranteed 32. He's guaranteed in a 40-hour work week, $50 an hour, $2,000 a week. So we can tell you that we guarantee someone that works 40 hours a week as a tech is going to make six figures. So that's something that we started in January that, other dealerships really aren't doing.
Wow.
And it really helps our techs, which they work really hard and deserve it.
Yeah, I would say I haven't heard it. Are any other dealers doing that at all? Did you?
I don't. There are a few, but I don't know any really around here that do that.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't heard anything about it. There's certainly no news on it. I feel like
And
that's newsworthy.
I mean, to be also completely transparent, we have a lot of our A-techs when they're reaching bonus that make upwards of $60 an hour. So the amount of money that that they're earning is something that is not really out there at other dealerships.
Yeah, no, I think that's an incredible offer and program, and hopefully it will attract the right people.
Right now, call me, okay? Call me, because
we'll put his phone number right here.
We're recruiting A, B, C, prep and lube techs. I give you the number. Write it down.
Yeah.
203-391-9150. Or email me at Dominic, with a C, DOMINAC, at Stamford, STAM as in Mary, FORD.com. And I'll be happy to talk to you and tell you all the benefits and try to get you as part of our team.
You heard it, guys. You just had an owner, a CEO, share his personal information on a podcast. That doesn't happen every day. So definitely, hey, listen, if you're watching this right now, you're having any thoughts, hopefully you get a good idea of what we're like here, what the culture is. We're super transparent. We're not afraid to come here and just have an honest, raw conversation every day. Fantastic place to work. And if you want to be on the show, we'll absolutely have you. Dom, thanks for taking the time today. I'm going to ask you one more question, then I'm going to let you close. What does success look like in 2026?
You know, I interviewed somebody for our, we're hiring a brand manager to actually try to get our brand out there. They asked me what I consider success.
That's
And it's crazy because a lot of people measure success by dollar signs and money.
Yeah.
I would tell you that I measure success. It's pretty simple. Okay. Beat yesterday.
Yeah.
So do the best you can. And every day, if you beat yesterday, you're successful because you improved on something. You don't have to beat yesterday with everything. Beat yesterday with being a better person. Beat yesterday with being more healthy. Beat yesterday with whatever. But I would tell you that's how I measure success. Compete against yourself, not against others. And you'll always be successful if you beat yesterday.
Guys, we will put the shirts up. We definitely got to start getting some of this. Speaking of brand management and everything else, we definitely want to start doing some giveaways. We have a bunch of new merch coming out. We're going to talk offline and figure out, because I know a lot of you guys are interested in what we have going on here. Definitely a different vibe, definitely a different take on success. And I think that's why you've been so successful, is because you don't follow the regular definition of success. A lot of people are just looking at the ledger and going, well, we're missing a zero. We're not successful.
You'll never be successful that way, because no matter how much money you make, you'll look at someone else that makes more and you'll want to make more. So listen, money comes with success.
Yeah.
Okay. If you're successful at being a good person or doing the right things, money will follow.
It finds you. Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't have said it better myself. Guys, thank you for watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, give it a thumbs up. We are going to do our best to upload consistency for you and put out an entire season of content for you guys. Hopefully you can be more engaged, more involved, and more importantly, always look to beat yesterday. Under the hood, check it out. It's our season 2, technically. We'll see you guys in the next one.